Dear fellow truth seekers, thank you and welcome for visiting my channel, MythoReligio. MythoReligio is a series of books about religious comparison studies between the stories in Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, and Buddhism, directly from their sacred books and world mythologies. The purpose is to retrace the prehistory of humanity, since I'm not fully satisfied with either the explanations from the point of view of creationists nor evolutionists. There are so many missing links in both explanations. If you feel the same, then you are on the right channel. In this book series, I'll also analyze about the prehistory of humanity from the modern scientific point of view and other alternative theories, such as the ancient alien theories and Atlantis or Lemuria legends. After thorough research of circa 30 years, I recognize many similarities between all religious stories and even mythologies. And surprisingly, some of them are in accordance or even beyond modern science that have been proven as correct. Thus, I came to the conclusion that all religions must have come from the same source. And these stories, although heavily jumbled up, are actually telling one mega story, the true prehistory of our common ancestors. This story is quite different than what we have been told to believe and will truly blow your mind, as it is more fascinating than our imagination. The videos uploaded in this channel are a part of this book series. For deeper analysis that leads to the above conclusion, kindly read the books that are available in ebook format in my website, MythoReligio.com, or the physical books at Amazon.com in color or black and white version. Abrahamic religious stories in Hindu Purana. Dear fellow truth seekers, if you have watched the earliest videos in this channel, I believe you can see similarities in various religious stories, be they Judeo-Christianity, Islam, or Hinduism. If you haven't, and you truly want to do a religious comparative study, I suggest that you do so. The best way to do a comprehensive religious study via this channel is by watching the videos starting from number 1 and continue until this present video. That way, you will see a clear pattern. To me, it is obvious that many details of the previous Hindu avatar stories are similar to some of the stories concerning the main characters in the Abrahamic religions, although jumbled up. If you do not notice that many similarities, I will share them with you when it is time to analyze deeper. In this video, I will share with you the stories of Adam, Noah, Moses, and the stories or the prophecies, depending on which dating you believe, of the coming of Jesus and Muhammad in a Hindu sacred text called the Bhavisha Purana. Bhavisha means future, and Purana means history. So this text could be translated literally as the history of the future. According to Wikipedia, based on the records of land grants of the 5th century CE verse that are quoted in this Hindu text, the British Orientalist Pargeter in 1912 assigned its dating to the early century CE. However, this is not according to Hindus themselves, who believe that this ancient text was authored by Sri Vyasa Muni, the compiler of the Vedic text. Author Dr. S.P. Bagot wrote concerning this text as follows. Though the text was written many thousands of years before these recorded events took place, by the power of his mystic vision, Sri Vyasa was able to accurately predict the happenings of the modern times. One of the text's poetic styles is to present the events as though they have already happened. This is a common practice in Sanskrit poetry and does not indicate that the book was written in modern times. So, here are the stories and/or prophecies of the major characters in Judeo-Christianity and Islam found in Bhavisha Purana. The text in brackets and/or explanations are mine. Adama and Nuha, Adam and Noah. A very similar story about Adam and his descendants is told in Bhavisha Purana Pratisarga Parva, chapter 4-7. This story is strikingly similar to the story in the Old Testament, Genesis chapter 5. In the eastern side of Pradhan city, where there is a big God-given forest, a man named Adama, biblical Adam, was staying there under a sinful tree and was eager to see his wife Havyavati, biblical Eve or Islamic traditions Hawa. The Kali Purusha, the personification of the Kali Yuga, the evil age, quickly came there assuming the form of a serpent. He cheated them and they disobeyed Lord Vishnu. The husband ate the forbidden fruit of the sinful tree. They lived by eating air with leaves called Udumbara. Then they had sons and all of them became Mlekas, meaning non-Vedic or barbarian. It is a term for people who do not conform to the moral and religious norms of the Vedic society, followers of the Hindu Veda scriptures. Adama's duration of life was 930 years. The Bible mentions the same age. He offered oblations with fruits and went to heaven with his wife. His son was named Swetanama, and he lived 912 years. Biblical Seth also lived 912 years. Swetanama's son was Anuta, biblical Enosh, son of Seth, who ruled 100 years less than his father. His son Kinasa, biblical Kenan, ruled as long as his grandfather. His son Malahala ruled 895 years. Biblical Mahalalel lived 895 years. His son Virada ruled 160 years. Biblical Jared lived 162 years. His son Hamuka was devoted to Lord Vishnu, and by offering oblations of fruits he achieved salvation. He ruled 365 years and went to heaven with the same body, being engaged in Mleka Dharma. Mleka Dharma means having good behavior, wisdom, qualities like a Brahman or a priest, and worship of God. The great souls have declared that the Dharma of the Mleka is devotion to God, worship of fire, non-violence, austerity, and control of the senses. The biblical Enoch, son of Jared, walked with God 300 years, then he was no more, because God took him away. The son of Hamuka was Matuchila. He ruled for 970 years. Biblical Matusela lived 969 years. His son Lomaka ruled 777 years and went to heaven. Biblical Lamech lived 777 years. His son Nuha, biblical Noah, ruled for 500 years. Nuha had 3 sons named Sima, Sama, and Bava. According to the Bible, Noah was 500 years old when he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japhet. Nuha was a devotee of Lord Vishnu. One day the Lord appeared in his dream and said, "My dear Nuha, please listen. There will be devastation on the 7th day. Therefore, you have to be very quick that you make a big boat and ride in it. O chief of the devotees, you will be celebrated as a great king." So, Nuha made a strong boat which was 300 feet long, 50 feet wide, and 30 feet high. In the Bible, the ark is described as, its length was 300 cubits, its width was 50 cubits, it had 3 stories, and its height was 30 cubits. It was beautiful, and all the living entities could take shelter in it. He then himself rode in it, engaged in meditating on Lord Vishnu. Then Lord Indra called the devastating cloud named Samartaka and poured heavy rain continuously for 40 days. The whole earth, Bharatvarsa, had merged in the water, and 4 oceans came up together. There were 80,000 great transcendentalists in Visala, who joined with King Nuha and his family. All of them were saved and everything else was destroyed. At that time, all the sages praised the eternal energy of Lord Vishnu. Being pleased by the prayers of the sages, the Vishnu Maya reduced the waters of devastation. After 1 year, gradually the earth becomes visible. Under the hill there is a place named Sisina, biblical Shinar, and the king was situated in that place with his other people. When the water completely dried up, the Meleka king Nuha came back to his place. Musa, Moses. After the Kali Yuga passed 2000 years, the dynasty of Melekas multiplied. They created many paths to grow, and gradually the whole earth became full of Melekas. The spiritual master and teacher of the Melekas were named Musa, biblical Moses, Quranic Musa. He was residing on the bank of the river Sarasvati, and he spread his doctrine throughout the whole world. As soon as Kali Yuga started, the devotion to the Lord and the language of the Vedas were destroyed. There are 4 kinds of Meleka languages, and from it 4 million kinds of other languages appear. Ishaputra, Jesus. From Bhavisha Purana, Pratisarga Parav, Chaturyuga Kanda, Dvitiyad Yaya, chapter 19, we find the prophetic story of Jesus Christ, i.e., the biblical Jesus the Messiah, or Yeshua HaMashiach in Hebrew, or Isa al-Masih in Arabic. Once upon a time, the subduer of the Sakas went towards Himatunga, and in the middle of the Huna country, Hunadesh, the area near Kailash mountain in western Tibet. The powerful king Salivahara saw an auspicious man who was living on the mountain. The man's complexion was golden, and his clothes were white. The king asked, "Who are you, sir?" He answered, "You should know that I am Ishaputra, the son of God." He replied blissfully, "And I am born of a virgin." I am the expounder of the religion of the Melekas, and I strictly adhere to the absolute truth. Hearing this, the king inquired, "What are religious principles according to your opinion?" Hearing these questions of Salivahara, Ishaputra said, "O king, when the destruction of the truth occurred, I, Masiha, the prophet, came to this country of degraded people where there are no rules and regulations. Finding the fearful, irreligious condition of the barbarians spreading from Meleka Desha, I have taken to prophethood. Please hear, O king, which religious principles I have established among the Melekas. The living entity is subject to good and bad contaminations. The mind should be purified by taking recourse of proper conduct and performance of japa. By chanting the holy names, one attains the highest purity. Just as the immovable sun attracts from all directions the elements of all living beings, the Lord of the solar region, who is fixed and all-attractive, attracts the hearts of all living creatures. Thus, by following rules, speaking truthful words, by mental harmony and by meditation, O descendant of Manu, one should worship that immovable Lord. Having placed the eternally pure and auspicious form of the Supreme Lord in my heart, O protector of the earth planet, I preach these principles through the Meleka's own faith, and thus my name became Isa Masiha. Muhammad. In the Bhavisha Purana, Pratisarga Parva 3, a Meleka spiritual teacher will appear with his companions. His name will be Muhammad, Islamic Muhammad. Raja, the king, after giving this Mahadev Arab of angelic disposition a bath in the Panchgavya and the Ganges water, i.e. purging him of all his sins, offered him the presence of his sincere devotion and showing him all reverence, said, I make obeisance of thee, O ye, the pride of mankind, the dweller in Arabia. You have collected a great force to kill the Devi, goddess, and you yourself have been protected from the Meleka opponents, idol worshippers, pagans. O ye, the image of the most pious God, the biggest Lord, I am a slave to thee. Take me as one lying on thy feet. The Melekas have spoiled the well-known land of the Arabs. Arya Dharma, or good moral, is not to be found in that country. Before there appeared a misguided friend whom I had killed. He has again appeared to be sent by a powerful enemy. To show these enemies the right path and give them guidance, the well-known Muhammad, who has been given by me the epithet of Brahma, is busy in bringing the Pischasas or demons to the right path. O Raja, you need not go to the land of the foolish Pischachas. You will be purified through my kindness even where you are. At night, he of the angelic disposition, the shrewd man, in the guise of a Pischacha, said to Raja Boj, O Raja, your Arya Dharma, good moral, has been made to prevail over all religions, but according to the commandments of Ashwar Paramatma, God, a supreme spirit, I shall enforce the strong creed of the meat-eaters. My follower will be a man circumcised, without a tail on his head, keeping beard, creating a revolution, announcing the call for prayer, and will be eating all lawful things. He will eat all sorts of animals except swine. They will not seek purification from the holy shrubs, but will be purified through warfare. Because of their fighting the irreligious nations, they will be known as Musalmans, Muslims. I shall be the originator of this religion of the meat-eating nation.